Eddie Richtofen or his son, Samuel, could be the president of the United States in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. It is very likely that Richtofen may be controlling a lot of the background events in the story, even all these years later, similar to what he did in Cold War, and may have been responsible for planting Ravenov in Deadbolt and even had Fletcher assisting Viktor Zakhaev for his own agenda. He would have ties to Richtofen after all, after previously working on Terminus Island in the Pacific, the place where the Requiem heads were captured and experimented on by Eddie Richtofen after the events of Cold War Zombies, likely one of the COD 2024 Zombies round-based maps. And he even named his group Terminus Outcomes after it. There are many notes in Modern Warfare 3 from the executive office. This alone does not suggest Richtofen is the president, but there's one particular note to Laswell saying, "I trust my identity and status have been appropriately communicated to you. You know who I am." This is an inversion of Richtofen's popular quote,
"Do you know who I am? Don't you know who I am?"
But this time he seems in control of the situation, and this line seems very similar to a lot of the quotes sent by the director. There is then a direct letter from the White House saying, "You have the entirety of the Pentagon and my office at your disposal," implying these orders came from the president themselves. This was after the initial outbreak caused by Zakhaev in Urzikstan, meaning they knew about it first, and the president was the one who directly enlisted Operation Deadbolt, so he could have had an inside contact directly when the incident happened, such as Fletcher. All mentions of the president's name are redacted in these notes, so it's definitely a big deal, whoever it is, to be revealed later. Modern Warfare 3 Zombies is set in 2021, and Marion Bosworth was the president in Black Ops 2 in 2025. She should be the president, but it's unlikely to be her, because why would they redact her name if we already know who it is? Unless she is merely a puppet president, with the shadow president actually being Richtofen or his son in control behind the public's eye. Richtofen was communicating directly with the executive office whilst director of Requiem in Cold War Zombies, so definitely had major sway in government, so if Project Janus or its shareholders required it, I could definitely see him having the influence to eventually become president himself. Richtofen likely grew up in America too since entering this new universe, and we know that he used to be a US Air Force pilot, which will be very strange because the next time we hear him, he may have a somewhat Americanized accent. And it's so ironic that he used to be a part of the Nazi party too, although he didn't exactly agree with all of their ideals. But a Nazi becoming the president of the United States is extremely fitting. I mean, the Nazis are literally based a lot of their ideology off of what was going on in America and how they did politics there. However, this would be too similar to his reveal as the director in Cold War Zombies, so to not make it feel too similar, instead his son could be the president, who should be old enough by now, 35 plus, to be eligible. It seems his son and wife may have accidentally been killed in a house fire prior to the events of Cold War Zombies in a failed assassination attempt on Eddie's life by none other than Gregory Weaver, hence his eye and throat being scarred. And Weaver was given the CIA intel by Samantha. It's unclear as to why Eddie would have been a target though, or who was after him, and if he was a target by the CIA, how did he then end up working directly for the CIA? It's theorized his son may have then been trapped as an ethereal orb in the dark ether, and during COD 2024 Zombies, Eddie may have